let's talk about God and hate. At no time should we as human beings believe in a God that tells us to hate people. Hate is an emotion that is so strong, it teaches us that other religions and other people aren't worthy. You know, they're not worthy of us. In none of the teachings in the known religions does it say that people aren't worthy. You have man-made edicts, but nothing that was truly brought down from God. If you read the 10 Commandments that was given to Moses by God, if you believe in biblical lineage, it says, "Thou shalt not." It gives you rules to live by. It doesn't tell you anything about spiting thy neighbor. It says, "Love thy neighbor as thyself." So, when we add man to the mix, we also add a level of dysfunctional beings. And those dysfunctional beings tend to tell us that, you know, it's okay to kill non-believers. It's okay to harm people that don't actually think the way we do. I do not, in any one of my thousands of thoughts, think that God ever intended us to dislike people because they don't think the way we do. I believe God means us to love people, even if those people are different from us. Not to be afraid of them. You know, we have the whole hysteria of the LGBT community, or whatever the hell it's called, right? Let's take out sexual preference. Let's take out, you know, sexual thought. They are humans first. We must love the human. You can dislike the action, but you have to love the human. A lot of things I may not agree with, but I still love the human. And why do I love the human? Because my God tells me that love is the answer to everything. And we have to remember that the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. It's doing nothing. It's not feeling passion. It is, you know, turning a blind eye to things. You know, we have people in this world, we had people in our country, in the United States, that have turned an eye on people molesting young boys and young girls for years. There are whole countries where the T-boy is prevalent. That, in case people don't know what a T-boy is, he is basically a sexual servant to the people that are in charge of him. You know, there are things to where we, you know, you have to feel sorry. There are generations that are being raised to hate somebody because they are Jewish, or because they are Christian, or because they are Muslim, or because they are black. God never intended that. He made us all humans, right? A race is a pigment. Being Mexican is being from a different country. Nothing different. We may speak differently, but we're all human. We are all from the same race. That way, we have the capability of breeding with each other, should be our first indication. So, why do people hate people of different color? Well, first, it's fear. You know, fear and foremost, you know. They fear something they cannot control. And you cannot control somebody's pigment. You just can't do it. Then we look at our society. You know, we went from a society where the mother and father was the normal. And even if the mother and father are two women or two men, we went from two parents, usually good cop, bad cop, to one cop that goes out and drinks and drugs the whole night long and says, I wonder why my child is in a gang. Now, do I hate that person? No. I love that person as a human. I don't agree with their path. I reach out to the other side of the aisle and try to help that person, but I don't hate that person. Because that means if I hated, I would have to feel such a strong emotion about them that would be self-destructive. And I don't believe in being self-destructive any longer. I was up on business in Chicago yesterday, and a young lady was on the corner and she was begging for money, and she needed food for her and her child, and there was a stroller there. So I said, okay, maybe this is legitimate. Maybe I can run to the grocery store, because I do not give money to people, because generally if you're giving money, you're feeding addiction, and you should never feed somebody's addiction. You can feed their soul, you can feed their mind, you can feed their belly, but never feed their addiction. Let them hit their bottom. And when I approached the young lady, I noticed that the stroller had nothing but a doll in there. So I asked her, I said, well, where's your child? And she looked at me and she kind of bowed her head, you know, like, oh, you caught me, I'm running a scam. So I looked at her, and I think she fully thought that I was going to chastise her for running a scam. And my intention wasn't to chastise. I don't need to chastise anybody. You know, God has given me a great life, and I have made a great life for myself with God's help, you know. And I looked at her and I said, are you hungry? And she kind of shook her head yes, and got that glimmer of hope that I was going to buy her, or going to give her some money. I said, I won't give you money, but I'll sit down and have lunch with you if that's what you would like. She declined the offer. And I looked at her and I said, you know, I know what addiction's like. I know what being thought of that nobody cares and nobody loves is like. Been there. It was many, many years ago, but been there. And she kind of looked up and she told me, she goes, you don't know nothing. And I said, well, I guess we'll have to agree to disagree. And I walked on. Now, that confrontation could have went two ways. You know, I could have been hostile back, which would have provoked probably anger in her, and God knows it was what else in her. Or I could have planted the seed of love, which I did, you know, telling people that there is help and there is love out there for even the people that feel unloved. There is love for you out in this world. Out in this big, cruel world, there is love. And why is that? Because the God that I believe in tells me that you change the world by love and not by hate. You know, if I wanted to be a racist, and if I wanted to hate people of other colors or other pigment in their skin, I wouldn't reach out to them. I wouldn't hold rallies. I would be silent. Because silence is a killer. Silence is the death knell for everybody. You know, so with that, I see these misguided kids out there that think it's okay to be violent against the moronic assholes that stand up and spew hate. Violence only proves their point. Yelling back at them only proves their point. It feeds their inner burning. What takes the wind out of their sail is offering to sit down with them for a meal. Not listening, praying really loud, you know, getting in a circle, a multicolored circle, and saying, this is America. Your America does not exist. Your hate-filled America does not exist. And why is that? Because we choose not to allow it to exist. We, as the American public, say hate has no place. Yes, it is your right to spew whatever crazy crap you want because it's a protection under the Constitution, and it should always be a protection because it should be a reminder of us of how we don't have to live. Because I frankly feel it is great being able to call, and I'm going to call out one of my friends, one of my Navy buddies, Leroy, and call him my brother. I feel good that I can make fun of his being, his significant other, Michelle, who is actually, I don't know how I ended up with her, but I digress, is actually a wonderful woman. But how do I, if I hated people of color, how could I hang out with Rob and, Leroy and Del Plato and Siraki? How could I do that? How could I be that character? How could I be that man that espouses love for country but hate for individuals in the country? I hate nobody. Do I feel sorry for people? Absolutely. I feel sorry for the people that think everything should be free. I feel sorry for the people that think the government should run their life. I feel sorry for the people that don't have a belief in God. I feel sorry for the people that don't choose to go out and help their fellow man. I feel sorry for people that bitch about life's conditions. That's what I feel sorry for. I do not feel sorry for the people that have a love for God. I do not feel sorry for the people that, are a little bit down and out, but they're working to make their lives better. The working poor in this world really makes what the world goes around, right? Because there are a lot of great people that came from poor caste societies. I mean, if you look at the caste system in India, there's a reason why the people in India like moving to the States and other worlds, because there's no caste system, and they can be whatever the fuck they want to be. What is this country? This country is the greatest country in the world. Is there racism? Absolutely. But we don't teach our kids to be victims of that racism. We don't tell our kids, hey, because you're black, because you're Chinese, because you're Indian, because you're Mexican, you are a victim. We teach them they are victors, that no matter what they put their mind to, they can do. They just have to subscribe to a certain way of living, and that means they cannot break the laws. Simple. Don't break God-made laws or man-made laws. Work harder than the people next to you. Get noticed by not being the loudest, but being the smartest. If you don't understand questions, ask. Seek out people that are smarter than you. Surround yourself with intelligent people, and your intelligence will grow. We need to give our kids a positive message, a message of love, a message of encouragement, a message of no matter what life gives you, you can make it better. Now, we have a lot of people that want to give the message of you've been picked on, you've been battered, you've been beat. That's not the message. That's not the message for anybody. If you want somebody to be better, you empower them to be better, no matter what them circumstances are. Nelson Mandela spent years inside a prison, and he came out and made it better. Everything was against him. He didn't have anything going for him. But what he did have is hope. He had encouragement. He had love. And he had people that stood up and said, you can do it. So this bull crap of us telling our children, because they come from a lower class family, they can't do it, is bullshit. We need to encourage them in scholastics. Sports is okay. But scholastics, thinking out of the box, entrepreneurship. But most of all, we need to encourage them to follow the 10 Commandments. No stealing, no killing. Stop screwing around. You know, love thy mother and father. Everything that this society has gotten away from, we need to turn to if we want the United States to grow. And people just don't understand that. And I am not a religious zealot. Not at all. You know, religion is man-made, first of all. Spirituality is God-made. Believing in something greater than yourself has made the human race better than it should be. We believe, most of us, not everybody, probably 95% of the world believes in some type of deity. I don't know the statistics on that. And because we believe there are things greater than ourselves, we are less narcissistic. We help our fellow man. We have this thing called compassion. We can experience love. We can experience joy. You know, we are very lucky in doing that. You know, and the reason we do that, it's a humbling experience, right? You know, if we didn't believe in something greater than ourselves, everybody would be fighting for the leader of the troop, the alpha male, so to speak. You know, are there alpha males in this world? Sure, there are. You know, I'm probably an alpha male. I'd like to think I am, at least. But I don't have to fight for it. I show that I am leader through love, through caring, through desire to teach people, through desire to make this a better world. You know, engaging even in the most distraught people. That's how we make this a better world. I would like to challenge everybody to go out and just help one person. It doesn't have to be monetarily. If nothing else, listen to them. Listen to their stories and then tell their stories. Help them realize that they are better, that they are good, and that they don't need a whole bunch of money to be successful. Success is 99% mental. I know a lot of really wealthy people that are miserable. Miserable as shit. They can't buy enough stuff to make them feel good. Why? Because they moved away from believing that something greater than themselves can help them. So I'd like to challenge the world. Go out. Be a better person. Help man. Help mankind. Put aside the pigment of somebody's skin. Help people build character. Tell them they have to follow the laws of God. With that, I bid you adieu.